This is TJ Legacy, host of the Soapboxx Podcast. The live stream will start shortly, but make sure you like our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, and tell all of your friends and family that the most infamous podcast on all your streaming services is about to go live.
TJ, what's goody? It's HB. Can I just big you up real quick with what you're doing with the Soapboxx? Listen, anytime somebody takes their platform to educate and inform the culture of hip-hop with politics, pop culture, doing what you're doing and being responsible with your platform, I can't do nothing but salute you, TJ. Keep doing what it do. Keep repping for the culture. Nothing but love and respect for me, baby. Peace.
Tell me what's really good. It's Peter Rosenberg, Hot 97, ESPN, WWE, Cheap Podcast, all that. Big shout out to my peoples over at the Soapboxx, all right? My man TJ, Legacy Cole, the whole Soapboxx crew. Incredible new podcast, all right? Politics, pop culture, hip hop, even wrestling on occasion. It's all there. So go subscribe and make sure you tune in to the Soapboxx. TJ, what up, man? Appreciate you.
Peace to the planet. Charlemagne the God here. What's happening, TJ Legacy Cole? Salute to you, King. Salute to the Soapboxx Podcast. The Soapboxx Podcast is an independent black media podcast, and they talk hip-hop, politics, pop culture, mental health, social justice, a lot of my favorite subjects. Check them out, man. Tune in, subscribe to them. You never know. I'm out here looking at all the different podcasts that are moving and shaking out here because, I got the Black Effect Podcast Network, so I'm going to be checking y'all out, TJ. All right? Keep working.
Hey, welcome to the Soapboxx Podcast. I'm your host, TJ Legacy, and I am joined with, let me go ahead and do that so we can get Giovanni up in the middle. What's up? I am TJ Legacy. Welcome to the Soapboxx Podcast. Well, 3/4 of the Soapboxx Podcast. Jesse is out today, but we're still going to have a great show, an abbreviated version of the show, and we are going to talk, have a good time, have a conversation. Really, we're going to shoot the shit tonight. We are just going to have real conversation, not so much news stories, but we really want to hear from y'all in the comment section, Soapboxx Nation. But before I do that, let's get to my co-host all the way from Tallahassee, Florida, with the curls popping. What's up, Jess Giovanni? How you doing?
What's up? What's up? Yes, my curls are definitely popping today, and I am definitely happy about that because it's taken a long time to get my hair to a healthy, relaxed state because my hair is no longer natural, but even, just having that whole process of getting it straight and being able to still have its own curl pattern was a process. So what's up, Soapboxx Nation? Let's get to chat about everything that's happening in our world.
That's what's up. That's what's up. And also, my man all the way from New York, Harlem. What's going on? Homeless millionaire Alan York. What's good, man?
Man, what's the word? What's the word? I'm feeling good. I'm, always good to be here with the family. I just remembered it is a long weekend for most of us because it's President's Day on Monday. So make sure y'all enjoy that. TJ, yeah. I know it snuck up on me too. TJ, kicking it back to you, man. How you feeling?
Hey, man, I'm blessed and highly favored. Let me go ahead and zoom in for the hair growth. Ladies and gentlemen, baby dread, baby dread, little engine that could. I think I can. Trying to do a little something, before the summer. Hopefully it gets longer, but Giovanni, I understand the process when you're growing out your hair and you're doing things differently. And look, I done did it. I'm doing it. So yes, I understand what it takes. Probably not to the extent you do, but I understand it because I'm just like, and just want to let y'all know, as you get older, there's little gray hairs that show up. And once I get gray in my beard, it's all over. Y'all not gonna be able to tell me shit. I'm gonna be insufferable. Like I'm gonna be all this gray. I want it. Can't wait. So I'm not one of those dudes. That's like, what's up? What's up?
I said can't tell you nothing.
Not a damn thing. You know what's funny? Speaking of getting older, I posted something on my Facebook and everybody got a good chuckle at it, but it really hurt me. I was like, look, I go to the gym and every time I talk to these dudes, at the gym, whether it's to get advice on how to on a specific exercise machine, what workout that they're doing, or when dudes are like transitioning, like, hey, is that your bench? Are you, whatever, whoop de whoop. Yo, these young dudes keep calling me sir. They're like, sir, and I'm like, brother,
elder respect.
It may be respect, but I'm like, damn, am I at sir level already? Like I was like, I know my hairline is 65. Don't let the headband fool you. My hairline is 65.
We are not.
But I promise you, I'm 35. I'm 35 years old, and they just, yeah, man. I was like, I get taken aback by. I know they mean it. It's not malicious, but I was just like, damn, is 35 sir level? And then they be like, well, I'm 22. I was like, shit. I'm a decade older than you, so I don't know. Do y'all get some of that? You think it's out of respect?
Yes, and I was gonna say, it's like you really don't have to be a certain age to be a sir. Like even when I was 14, if somebody was 18 or 20, 21, I may call them a sir, just if they're older than me. So I don't think it's like I said, it's just maybe like some sort of elder respect for anyone who
an elder, nigga. I am not an elder.
You are. Everyone's an elder to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like a senior in high school is an elder to a junior in high school. You know what I'm saying?
You know who can call me sir? A kid in elementary school or junior high. They can call me sir. Everybody else.
Listen, these young slappers. If you get on the basketball court with them and you see how they running up and down the floor, lapping you up, you understand why they call you sir.
With these knees, if I am on a basketball court, that means someone put a gun to my head and forced me onto that basketball court, because there's no way I'm getting on the basketball court running up and down anywhere.
See? Look at that. You got certain
doing cardio, but that's about it. Do y'all have any reservations about aging?
Do I have reservations about it?
Yeah. Do you get like hypersensitive, like, yo, I'm kind of getting up there,
Not necessarily, only because it's not optional. So I get reservations about like maybe falling off physically. Yes. But that could happen at any age. But I wouldn't say about reservations about getting older, just because it's inevitable. Being that we're blessed to do so. So what about you, Giovanni?
Jay, do you feel like
yeah, I don't mind. I feel like when it comes to my age, and I have mentors, and sometimes they refer to me, yes, ma'am. I'm definitely at that age for somebody to say yes, ma'am, but it doesn't make me feel old, because I know I'm not old, so it's just. But you're gonna be one of
them. You're gonna be one of them fine older women though. Them young dudes is gonna call your skin is flawless as hell. So you're gonna be
right. It's gonna be a breeze.
Yeah, they're gonna be like, so Noble, you gonna have a sleepover over Noble Mama's fine as fuck. They're gonna be looking. They're gonna be looking. Definitely.
Yeah, they are. But yeah, I think it could be a compliment too, just a respect thing that somebody has for you.
Indeed. And shout out to Soapboxx Nation. Listen, we want to hear from y'all this episode, like in every episode. So please follow us, Soapboxx Podcast, at Soapboxx Podcast with 2X. Say what's up to us in the comments section. If you have a question or a topic that you want to talk about tonight, please let us know. We're all ears. We are just tonight we're shooting the shit and just having a good conversation with the family. Real quick, have y'all been seeing? I want to know, Alan, I want to get your take, and Giovanni, I want to get your take on this. Have y'all ever had a menacing ex? Right? An ex that just won't leave you alone. I want to know what y'all take is about this whole Kanye, and I don't really do the whole Kardashian thing, but Kanye's been wilding out on social media for a long time. Apparently, Kanye had a girlfriend. Then he also was separated from his wife Kim Kardashian. Kim is dating Pete Davidson. Kanye was dating somebody else, but now he wants her back, and he's doing the most. But he's also like putting out things where he's insinuating that he's gonna harm Pete Davidson allegedly. So I don't know. Have you ever had an ex that just won't let go?
No.
What about you, Giovanni?
What do you mean let go? What do you mean by let go?
Anything.
Like for instance, like you ever see like when people break up, right? And they don't want to be with you, but they don't necessarily want you with anybody else either. Have you ever had that situation? Where a dude is like, he's always on your Instagram, he's always checking, talking about, now she out in these streets, huh?
Right. Yeah. Those situations happen a lot, especially when a person will make you feel guilty because you talk to somebody else, and then they're like, oh, I knew you were talking to other people. And it's just like, regardless if you knew or not, it's over. So it doesn't matter right now. But actually, it still carries a heavy burden, because when you love somebody, and if you really love them, you don't want to hurt them. So, sometimes you can carry that guilt, like, okay, you don't want to get caught on dates, or you still checking your phone, making sure people not checking to see who calling, like things that you would do if you were in a relationship. And I just feel like we carry that stuff for a long time, even when we are single, as far as like, how much freedom do I really have? Because there's still hope. Like sometimes there's still hope. Like, what if they come back, but I've already started a relationship with somebody else? Then I got to break up with this person. I got to tell them that I've been with somebody else. And so sometimes, we'll just stay away from everything and just not date, not do any of that stuff, in fear that it will have some long-term effect on the person that we used to date. So yeah, I think moving on from an ex, especially if you've been in a relationship for a long time, it's a lot.
Yeah, and you know what? Just to be fair, I do think that it is good. I mean, because that period that you're talking about is really a kind of a healing period. Like I don't even think it would be fair to another person for you to have those feelings as far as being reserved, because in the back of your mind, you and your ex might get back together. It's probably not even fair to anyone else that you would be currently dating to have those feelings. I think it's good for all of those feelings to be completely washed out of you before you really get into like the serious dating pool. So I think a lot of those feelings, should actually serve as a conscious or as a reminder that you may not be ready yet. So.
Listen, the rule of thumb is if you've been together and then you break up, you've actually been breaking up half the time. You just don't know it yet. So if you've been together with somebody for 4 years and then y'all officially break up, y'all really been breaking up for 2.
And then speaking of rule of thumb, something else that I heard as well, timetable, they said that like the amount of time it takes for you to get over a person is half the time that y'all were together. So I guess it's kind of a flip of that. So if you guys were together for a year, it may take you 6 months to fully get over that person and wipe a new slate.
Not for women. Not for women. Giovanni, forgive me if I'm wrong, but women will sit there and they will break up with you emotionally and mentally before they actually separate from you. That's why in breakups, it's easier for the women it's easier for the women than it is for the men. Because dudes, we're dumb. We get blindsided. What the fuck? I think this is great. What are you talking about? You moving on. But she's been breaking up and mentally preparing.
5 months.
Go ahead, say that again.
I said, women, we are breaking up about 5 months in advance.
Absolutely.
Of the actual breakup.
That's why when dudes, when there actually is a breakup, dudes are more taken aback and they start doing like stalkerish behavior. And that's when you were talking about the whole being in fear and dealing with fragile male egos and those type of things, because a dude is always going to, and I'll tell you, I will say this, an immature guy will always look for an external reason as to why the relationship didn't work rather than looking inward initially, right? So if you break up with him, and women are more so, they will disconnect emotionally. Once you break up with him, it's never really him in his mind. What it is, oh, you probably fucking somebody else. There's some other dude. And so the timelines get messed up because you've been broken up for 5 months, but you guys been together. So when you initially break up, you go ahead and you start dating somebody else because you're like, man, I've been single for about 6 months in my mind, so let me go ahead and start dating somebody else. In a guy's mind, he's like, oh, so this the nigga that's been around the whole time. So you see what I'm saying? So that's why we start bugging out, because we're like, oh, so behind my back, this is what you really been doing. And so guys just handle breakups differently. Alan, how do you handle a breakup? A bad breakup? I've never had a good breakup.
I mean, I don't have too many.
That's a lot. I have.
I was gonna say I don't have too many experiences with breakups. Only 2. One which I initiated. So it was kind of a little bit different. And then I was also like moving out of state, so that kind of softened the blow, knowing that I was going to be gone for a while. And then the other one, it was just like it was just very confusing. How did I handle it? I mean, I don't think I did anything crazy. Like sometimes I randomly had outbursts, like between myself and the young lady, like, yo, you sure this is what you want to do? Like, you 100%? Because you kind of wishy-washy. But other than that, it wasn't too crazy. But what about you, TJ? You said you just remember something just triggered in your head.
I definitely don't have good breakups. Especially my younger years. Shit has been fucking catastrophic, and I don't even want to get into that. But yes, I've not had great breakups. And to be honest with you, a lot of that had to do with me not being mature enough to handle certain situations and not dealing with that and dealing with, I guess, abandonment issues and things that I needed to work out. But now I'm delivered. No, I've had, I really haven't been in a relationship in like that sense. I'm talking about years ago. But since those bad breakups, I tend to be very good at just walking away before it even gets convoluted, before it gets, you dating someone. No. My rule of thumb, especially when it comes to like dating apps and all this other stuff and communicating, is don't have me guessing. The minute I have to start guessing and you start taking up too much of my headspace, that means I'm just gonna fade to black and excuse myself from your table and allow you to go do what you want to do. Because with me, I've said this, and I think I said this last week, there are no fences. You here because you want to be here. The minute I got to start guessing and I hit you up and you start flaking, and then I make plans and you start, oh, well, I'm not really up, and all that other shit. And I'm trying to hit you up, and then you're like, oh, I was busy and you ain't answer my texts, within, a respectable allotted time. I'm good. I'm not going to play the Jumanji game, especially with, how handsome I am. There's always somebody else. there's always, and I think Godfrey said that on our podcast. Godfrey, the comedian Godfrey, he said a lot of men, let's revert back to Kanye. A lot of men don't deal in the spirit of abundance. We deal in the spirit of lack, especially in dating. That's why when we're out here, we're like, yo, she's my everything. She's, everything to me. But, and then when a girl either rejects you or she leaves, you're like crushed because you're like, oh my God, she is the only one I really, really wanted. But if you tweak and change your mindset to the mindset of abundance, right? And this is men and women. Abundance as, hey, that didn't work out, but whatever God has for me, he has for me, and I know I'm not going to be alone. There's somebody out there for me. Then you're not going to really worry. You're not going to be too concerned about whether or not somebody rejects you, or you ask for somebody's number and then she be like, she kind of give you the cold shoulder. You just like, all right, fuck it. I'll just keep it pushing. So if you did, so that little tweak, especially when he said that on our podcast, of dealing in abundance rather than dealing in a spirit of lack, will actually change your outlook on dating and relationships. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, what's some of your worst breakups, Jay? It's top 2.
Oh gosh. Y'all can hear me good? Y'all can hear me well?
Yeah, we can. There's a little delay. Yeah. We can hear you.
Okay. So high school, I was in a relationship probably 3 or 4 years, and broke up, tried it again while we got to college, broke up again in college. And then it got to that point, like TJ said, like if it's all it is, I'm done. It was just we were going to schools in different areas. I was in one city and he was in another city. So that was really hard. And yeah, that was probably the last like breakup that I feel comfortably publicly talking about.
She's like, look, the other documents are redacted. Okay, there's a lot of black ink on those other documents. The rest of y'all don't get. That's like Jay-Z, where he says, he's like, just for you other niggas, y'all only get half a bar.
So how many Jay, how many tires have you slashed in your day?
What? You trying to incriminate her? Jay, as a Facebook attorney, I implore you not to answer that question.
Okay, we will not.
I have not slashed any tires, and I hope I don't have to slash any tires. Oh. But it does get to a point where, like, sometimes I haven't really been angry in a long time. Like the last time I can remember being like angry was probably 2016 when I was going through some issues after I became pregnant, when I felt like for real like being angry. But it takes a lot for me to get angry, so I'm always very cautious, like to not allow a certain situation to go to that extent, to the point where I literally have to slash your tire. Because I do feel like, that's either you playing and you just want to just be ratchet and just mess up a person's life, or you really serious about it and you're like, this is the closest thing that I can get to slashing, so I'm gonna just do your tires. But for me, I would just rather to preserve my anger. Like if I'm gonna have anger, it's gonna be very direct. It's not going to be towards the tires.
You know what? But the thing is, I will say this about you, Jay. Jay, you are always in your divine femininity. So I think for a dude, like, and I can't speak, I don't know any of the dudes that you've been with. Like, I think it would just be, I imagine in a relationship with you, it would be more of like, I'm disappointed type shit. Like, you let me fucking down. Like, I don't think you're a yeller. At least you don't come off that way. I think you're more of a like, did. Huh?
I'm not.
See, until you did that little head down thing, then it's like, I will cuss you out. I'm not a yeller, but I will.
Right.
I will cuss you out respectfully. You do the church cuss out. She do the nigga. Did you really do that? You thought that was gonna be okay, huh? You thought that you was gonna be okay.
I have to do that.
Yo, Javon, you seem like you're the type of person who's like, I really fucked up. She's like, oh, we need to have a. Javani's the discussion woman. We need to have a discussion.
But what is it? Okay, so what is it that men really want? Do they want, or does it depend? Like, do men want a woman to put her foot down and say, "This is what I want. You're not doing it. do you want to be with me or I'm leaving? Or do they want somebody to be, when they come home, they throwing the dishes, this, that, you stupid, da 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 da. What is it? Because sometimes, you hear those things where it's like, men like crazy women, like they want you to get crazy. Is that true?
Nope, that is not. As go ahead, Alan. I'll let you handle it. My internet's messing up, but go ahead.
No. Personally, well, I've never really been the type to enjoy crazy, but I do think for a lot of younger men, that is definitely a phase that they go through, just because and it could be psychological. It may be something that they're lacking at home because they feel as if a lot of times extreme emotion may be the only way that they've experienced some type of care or discipline in that matter. So they think extreme emotion is only a reflection of how someone could actually, show that they care about them. So I do think that a lot of times as younger whippersnappers, we do go through that phase. Me personally, I enjoy peace. I probably enjoy peace almost to a fault. So anything that I think is going to kind of disrupt that, especially on a regular basis, I tend to kind of stay away from. So yeah, I can't say I'm a person who enjoys crazy, but I do know that there are people out there that do enjoy it because they just use crazy as a measuring stick of care, which is extremely, extremely corny to me and very unhealthy.
But can you accept like having those conversations to where if your lady is telling you how she feels, are you the type of person that's like, get through it, or okay, babe, lay down, I'm gonna cuddle you and we're gonna talk about why you
Right.
feel this?
Right. I feel like I'm a conversationalist. And I do enjoy that. I enjoy direct communication. If this is what you don't like, or if I'm not giving you XYZ, I'm okay with having those conversations. Granted, if it's something that, even if it's something that I or you're expressing to me that you would like, or I could do better, that is something that I may not be able to do, and something that may be better off, that may lead to us going our separate ways. At least we kind of have a clear understanding of why we're going our separate ways, or maybe why I'm falling back, because you expressed that you need X, Y, and Z. And if I know I'm not able to give that to you, then that may be an opportunity for both of us to kind of find situations that are fulfilling our needs. So yeah, I'm definitely probably way better than I'm way better with conversation, because a lot of times I don't think acting out, for me personally, that's not how I get the message. Like, I'm not a mind reader. Like, you need to tell me what's wrong. And a lot of times I feel like conversations in regards to maybe how you're being treated or other people are treating you, a lot of times those conversations don't happen until it's too late. Everything bubbles up, you're throwing tantrums, and then it's to a point of no return, and then you find a healthy conversation about all these feelings that you've been having for 6 months. And it's like, where was that when it was happening? It could have been all of this could have been avoided. So yeah, I definitely prefer conversation for sure. What about you, TJ?
What was the? I was my internet was lagging. So go.
Yeah, Jay, I'll let you present the question again.
What were you asking? You were asking what men want, Jay, in relationships?
No, just if the person who you're dating, if they bring something to your attention, are you the type to be like, well, I don't really know what to do with that, or let's sit down, let's have a conversation about it and fix it?
I used to not be the biggest communicator in relationships at all. I used to kind of be like, it was like a volcano. Like, I would just let things build up, and not say anything. And then, like, I see a fork. I see a fork in my sink. What is going? And then we start talking about things from like 4 months ago. And I used to be that, which was very unhealthy, right? So now what I do, I try to communicate things. If something is little knick-knack things, no. But if something is bothering me where I'm like, hey, it's more like, let's nip this in the bud right now, because I don't want things to kind of be prolonged, right? And so I try to communicate, because I'm the type of person now, I don't like letting certain things fester in me when it comes to a relationship. If you are in a relationship, it's your responsibility to teach those who you are with how to treat you. Like Alan said, it's not, no one's a mind reader. You literally have to put in the time and the work and the effort to just say, hey, this is how I like to be loved. This is how I like to be treated. These are the steps, and walk it through. And it's like, people are going to mess up. What you don't want to do, what you want to avoid, is getting into the space where you're repeating the same shit over and over again and it's not being retained. You see what I'm saying? But when it comes to someone presenting something to me, as far as like, I'll listen, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't do the whole logical stars and cosmos and roundabout and it no. I don't do all that. I don't have all that type of discussion. I'm not.
You don't?
I
thought you was romantic.
I am very romantic, but it comes to a point, and you know what it also comes to? I know how consistent that I am, right? And so it's rare that there needs to be some big sit down, let's have a conversation, because early in any of my relationships, I guess now that I'm older, we're communicating all the time, almost to a fault, where it's like, damn, like, nigga, you got all these fucking instructions in the manual and shit. Because I'm very particular of how I'm treated, right? And I don't take things like some certain things people will do. Other people will just be like, all right, whatever, I'll let that slide. Me, I don't let certain things slide, especially how people are treated. And I think in dating has become, everybody is a property appraiser, right? So you'll meet someone on, whether it's a dating app or you'll meet somebody out, and you'll present yourself and you'll be like, well, this is what my worth is. This is what my standards are. And instead of someone meeting those standards or looking at you like, oh, okay, I can see that, they are looking at you like, let me reevaluate this what your standards and your value is, to make it conducive to what they believe you are. You see what I'm saying? So the key is, for me, that I've learned as I'm getting older and having more emotional intelligence, is to find someone who has your same value system. That someone is not going to diminish you in who you are, and take the time to understand your pathway, because you may say, oh, I like things this way, right? And it's easier, and somebody may be like, damn, Giovanni's really controlling. She's telling me she likes things this way, whatever. A part of being in a relationship is trying to understand not just what you're telling me, but why you're telling me what you're telling me. There's a reason why you respond to certain things or are triggered by certain things in whether I say it or how I do, or the things that I do, whether I treat you, right? So the thing is, people don't take time to do that. And once you find out that someone's just not going to take the time to really give a fuck about that, then you got to just be like, you know what? It is, at this point, it is what it is. And you either got to move on, or, like I think what Jesse was saying, is sometimes you got to grow or maybe recalibrate things. Me, I'm not a recalibrate kind of guy, because I know what I want and how I want to be treated, and anything that I require, I can reciprocate. So it's hard for me to tell anybody, for somebody to tell me, I'm not capable of treating you how you want to be treated, but I'm going to accept and receive all the shit and the great things that how you're treating me. That doesn't sit well with me, and we'll never mesh, you know?
Yeah, definitely. And do y'all think that, growing up in Black families where you're told, hush your mouth, stop talking back, don't, when you get told to do something and you say why, and they say don't worry about why, just do it because I told you to do it. Do you think that it plays into our relationships to where, we're trying to have healthy conversations, but in the back of our mind, it's like, if I'm telling you to do something, do it, or why do I have to tell you the reason why I'm trying to tell you what I need you to get done? And sometimes that lifestyle follows us into our relationship where it's like, stop talking back. And then you have your children who grow up and feel like anytime they have an opinion, it's talking back, or it's going against what that person is asking. And so now you have somebody who can't even communicate their side because they think they have stopped talking back and be quiet and stay out of grown folks' business, confused with do as a person says to keep them happy because your opinion doesn't matter. And I feel like that happens a lot, especially like in African American communities and with Black people and with women, to where we get into these relationships where we feel like I need to keep my mouth closed and do as I say because I'm trying to keep this situation happy or at peace. And we, like we replay those scenarios in our head without even realizing like, oh, it came all the way from my childhood of growing up. And then vice versa when it comes to some women who are super bossy and demanding because maybe they didn't grow up with the father in the household. And so now that they're finally in a relationship, it's just like I could do bad all by myself. I don't need no man. And it's not necessarily that you don't need a man. You can't keep a man because you are so not selfish, but self-sufficient. And you feel like you don't need anybody to help you. And it's just like, there is a role for an individual, I feel like, in each person's life. Like if you start to have a relationship, like everybody can have their own roles, but because of how we grow up, sometimes it's just hard. Some people cannot identify like some of the things in their life that could be from preventing them from being happy in a relationship. So I just wanted to get y'all take on how you think childhood affects your relationships today, if it does.
I think, Alan, you want to go or you want me to take it? You're muted.
I'm gonna let you go ahead and handle that first.
Well, I think that understanding what you're talking about is your pathway, right? And I think understanding your pathway is a part of doing the work to wanting and maintaining a healthy relationship. Because when I had toxic traits, and I still have toxic traits that I'm working through and going through therapy and stuff like that. But when you have those toxicities and chaos and inconsistencies in your pathway, yes, it affects your current day relationships. A part of the reason why, like you were talking about when you were younger and you're like, hey, sit down, shut up, don't, speak when spoken to, can't have an opinion, those type of things. Yes, that's part of the reason in my pathway why I'm very particular of how I'm being treated, because growing up, when you look at it, you're like, damn, I really was mistreated and I didn't have a voice. So now that I'm older and I do have a voice, I am very particular on how anybody's treating me, whether it's in business, relationships, anything. I'm like, this is how you're going to interact with me. Now, I'm not going to be dictating to you, but it's like, yo, if you're going to come with me in any sort of disrespect, it will never work. Yeah. So, but that's part of doing the work, is understanding your pathway. And the toughest thing that I learned in therapy about trying to have a healthy relationship is a lot of times you got to unlearn a lot of things from your childhood. A lot of times you have to realize, and it's a hard pill to swallow, that you grew up with a lot of examples of what not to do. I've had a lot of examples, like, and let's just talk about manhood, right? Nobody taught me how to do this shit. I have older brothers. I have cousins and stuff like that. I have one cousin in particular that's been by my side, ride or die with me, even through thick and thin, let me fall when I need to fall and stuff. But no one actually teaches most, and I'll talk about, in generalities with Black men. A lot of Black men are just out here just trying to figure this shit out. And unfortunately, us figuring it out, we leave a trail of innocent bystanders who are women who have to deal with a lot of the immaturities of us coming through our maturation process. That is the biggest thing that you and like for instance, the man I am today and who I am and could be in a relationship today is the man that I'm talking several women wanted me to be back when, but I wasn't ready. I was not ready. I wasn't mature enough. I didn't go through life experiences. And plus women also mature faster than men, but I also didn't do the work to actually understanding why I do the things that I do and what actually triggers me or why it bothers me or something, or how I communicate or what actually hurts my partner. You know, when I started saying, well, this is I stopped saying, oh, this is my girlfriend. And when you start thinking about relationship as a partnership and more of like a merger, like two companies, like a CEO, you start moving a little different because you're like, wait a minute. When you say this is my girlfriend or whatever, and who, you know, the whole who you talking to, and I used to have the toxic, crazy relationships and back and forth, the Whitney Bobby thing that is glorified, and also this, and these things in relationships and going back and forth and the makeup sex and the makeup sex, that's not bad, but yeah, you have all the makeup sex and all that stuff that you got going on. You know, I used to have that, and you used to think when you're young, you think, oh man, we got that thug love, this that real shit. You know, we got that passion. And as you get older, it's like, nah, that's just trauma bonding and toxicity. And it's exhausting. So as you're older, what Alan said is true. You want peace. I think, for me, and I'll wrap up to give to Alan, it's like when you talk about what men want, men don't want to deal with someone who's going to be a woman who's going to be in their masculine. It may seem cute to be going back and forth and arguing all the time. And I'm not saying you got to be barefoot and pregnant and just, but if I don't have the honor of submission, and that's what submission takes more strength, takes more strength than dominance. You're not submitting to me because you can't do for yourself. You're submitting to me because you trust me enough to do the certain things. Now, if you don't trust me to lead in this relationship, well, then we're probably not going to work out. I've never met a happy woman who's leading in her relationship. Not one. I just don't think naturally women want that. Yes, you want to be in a partnership. You want your voice to be heard. But being in a relationship where the woman is the one that's leading the efforts or pushing you to do stuff, or you don't have the ambition and making moves, and a lot of, we call them hobosexuals, where you just staying with a girl because you need a place to stay and you ain't got your act together. So she's the one that's fitting the bills and you under her name, and women, that's not going to last because the dynamics is different. Women don't want to be, she can't be in her divine femininity like that. And there's ultimately going to be a lack of respect. And if there's no respect, there can be no relationship. So what do you think, Ed?
I mean, I don't know. I don't really have like any big qualms or reservations in regards to the whole submission thing. I think that just, what people kind of define as submission, for a lot of times it's individual.
Very archaic.
I mean, it's individual based. Some of it could be very archaic. And then also, I also think that, the dynamic in which two people come together in a relationship also defines that, right? If, especially like I think getting into a relationship maybe a little bit younger in your 20s, where you don't even really fully know yourself yet, I think a relationship does kind of depend a little bit more on a leader, quote unquote, preferably a man to kind of guide the ship, because not only are you doing that for, yourself, you are looking to assist your partner in that. And then just also bringing both of you guys up. I think that as, you get a little bit older, it may look a little bit different if two people single have been independent throughout their adulthood thus far, or getting together somewhere in their mid-30s. I think right, yeah. I mean, it really is just kind of like you were saying, like a merging of businesses, and the woman may not be looking for any sort of guidance or leadership in adulthood per se. She just may want it just around the household, like maybe just making the big decisions in regards to maybe, the house itself, or, if you guys want to have kids, then obviously there's a lot of decisions that have to be made, but it's a little bit less crutch based with two people who are adults and they know each other, because at that point they have gotten this far being themselves. And if it's worked for them, then there may be a bit of resistance to relinquish any sort of, I want to say control or submission, just relinquish any sort of routine. But like you said, at the end of the day, both parties have to kind of trust that each other has its best interest at heart. And I think that's what it really comes down to. Like you have to know that I'm going to be better with you than I am without you, especially if I was doing okay by myself. So it's a lot of different dynamics when it comes to that.
But Jay, you said something, and that's true, A. But Jay, you said something very profound. You asked, well, does a man want you to speak up, or does he want you to be submissive? Does he want you to do this? And he wants both. he wants both. Like, I don't know if y'all ever watched the movie Creed, right? I don't know if have y'all seen the movie Creed?
Watch it again if it's a little point to it.
Yes, the movie Creed. It it's Michael B. Jordan in it, and then of course Tessa Thompson. Look, we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. I don't want to go there with you. Tessa Thompson is in it, and she's his love interest, right? Bianca. That is when I view or envision what I want in a wife. That is probably the closest thing that I've actually like seen it on screen, right? And because with Donnie, she held him accountable, right? Because being a man is about producing results. Like she was able to still be feminine, still be extremely supportive, encourage him, pour into him, but also hold him accountable and check him when he needs to be checked. You see what I'm saying? But there's a difference between checking a dude and being a woman who is strong and who can be assertive and being loud and disrespectful or rude. You see what I'm saying? And nobody wants to be with anybody who's passive anyway, either. So you got to find that balance based upon who this guy is. That's the whole part about getting to know each other even before marriage. Like I don't want to put nobody out there. Let's just say this. Death to me is like being like I don't want to say how do I say this? Because I don't want nobody to feel some type of way. Let's just say there's a lot of examples out there of people who are married or men who are married who aren't particularly fucking happy. Yes, the wedding is cool. You have your family, you may have your kids, and y'all have y'all routine, but you're not ultimately fucking happy. And for me, that's criminal. Like me, I can't go through that. Like I would never be, because that stuff transfers onto your kids. Because kids will know. Kids know when the house. We knew when the house was kind of janky and effed up. Kids know, and I would never put my kid in a situation where they are viewing a loveless marriage, and it's because people don't want to take the time to actually get to know who this person is. Not saying that you're not always gonna love the person who you're with. Be in love with them. You're gonna love them, but you're not always gonna be in love with the person. But those things, love and anger, those type of things fluctuates, in relationships. But you gotta find that commonality. If the commonality is loyalty, where it's like, look, we're gonna make it through regardless, we're gonna fix it. If there's some sort of like progress and building blocks. But if it's on some like y'all wandering the desert for 40 days and 40 nights or whatever, however long it is, then it just ain't working. But there's times I don't like myself. So I know there's time where my significant other don't like me. You see what I'm saying? So but you gotta work at it. And if people don't want to work at it, and if you feel like it's not working at it, when you feel like you're working at the shit alone, that's when it's time to go. When you feel like, look, I'm putting in all this effort, I'm sweating, I got the hammer, I got the nails, I'm doing the foundation, I'm putting in fucking work. And you feel like you're the only one that's doing it, eventually, shit, LeBron left Cleveland because of that shit. He was like, look, I'm tired of being the only one that's taking all the shots. I'm gonna go over here to Miami and be with D Wade and some other stuff. Yeah, you got to put in the work, and the shit is heavy. Relationships, look, man, relationships are fucking tough.
I'll take
and
that.
And they get tougher when you're older. And it's like you are like, and like me, I don't like being scapegoated for nobody's happiness. And I take that shit to heart. Like when someone is not happy and they're around you, like that shit hurts. Because you're like, damn, it's me. I'm not making you. But when you feel like you're doing everything you can and there's still a disconnect, what are you left to do? You can't make yourself miserable, and potentially you can't, if you're in a marriage, you damn sure can't make your kids miserable. Because now you're coming home, you don't want to be home, you staying out a little later after work, and then you coming home, the kids, Daddy, yeah, just leave me. I need some time to unwind. Just deal with your. Yeah, I wouldn't do that to my potential kids. What about? But let me ask you, Jay. Like, do you prefer a man to be like to lead, or am I wrong in that aspect? Do you or as a as a career woman, right? Do you want to take a more assertive role or approach in a relationship, or is it like or here's what I think a lot of women, forgive me if I'm wrong, I think a lot of women take that assertive role because there is a lack. Like when I look at that as like when a woman takes more of an assertive role in a relationship, I think it's because she feels like there's a deficiency, and if she don't take that position, then the house or the structure is going to crumble. So it really boils down to, hey, you're not really on your grizzy, so I gotta compensate for your deficiencies, and in doing so, long term, that breeds a little bit of resentment, because it's like, damn, I wish I could be in my femininity, but I can't, because if I do and I let you handle things, you're just gonna be slipping. So and I feel like women in that aspect, when they with a dude that really, I don't want to say a dude that ain't shit, but a dude that's really not in his, I'll call him not in his masculine, not on his game. Women get a bad rap for that, because they feel like, oh, she's too masculine, she's too argumentative, she's too this, and she's like, well, she gotta be in that aspect, or the dude she's been with have taught her she needs to be. What do you think?
Yeah, I would prefer not to be the leader in the relationship. But I am strong enough to take on either role. So I would prefer that a man sees that in me and knows how to play off of that. Like, oh yeah, we finna do some stuff together because I know you're gonna hold it down. You got the skills, you could talk, you're strong, but I'm gonna take the heavyweight. Maybe it's the finances, or maybe it's the idea, but I know that with you as my partner, we both can execute it. So I don't like to be completely left out of the ideas, or I value my opinion. I don't want to be a hush mouth wife or anything like that. But and then I understand where it does come a point in time where a man some men want that leader, they want that leadership role for you to feel comfortable enough to say, like, I can take care of you. And I feel like I will also be able to give that, just that what is it? Just affirm that with him in the relationship. Yep. Like, okay, so what part do you want me to handle? You want me to, you got to talk it out.
Yeah.
You got to talk it out, because you don't know. A man can literally say that he wants you to be he likes women to be a stay-at-home wife, but the moment you quit your job, it could be a problem. So it's just like,
Yeah.
People, you gotta be, you know, it's a lot. I feel like that goes into a relationship to really understand, like, okay, so what is it that you're saying? Like, you don't want me to quit my job, but you want to take care of me, or you want me to stay, you want me to be a stay-at-home mom, but does that mean I can't go out anymore? You know, does that mean that if I am a stay-at-home mom, that now I have to do as you say? So I feel like it has to be a balance. Like, yes, I could be submissive to you, but I still want my freedom. Or yes, you can be the leader, but I still have an opinion. And so, but what I love us, come on, I feel like all women, unless you just want to be the leader, but we love a strong man, like, you know, and you could be strong and soft. And it's not the 1940s, 50s, or the 60s where the men in the house were emotionalists, barely said I love you, all they did was work, and they took care of the household, and the women came home and took care of their man and the kids. It's not like that anymore. It's more like men and women both speaking up and saying, this is what I need. And even with men saying, you know, I don't want to, yes, I do want to be the strong person, but it's okay for a man for a man to be cuddled, for a man to be spooned, for a man to be loved, or, you know, for a man to have the Valentine gifts. I feel like our generation is saying, like, those things are okay for a man. And so I also want my man to feel like, I know you holding it down right now, but you can relax, because if you fall, I promise I'm gonna be able to pick up the pieces. You know, even
That's it right
regardless,
there.
even if it is a situation to where I may lack in something, it's just like I'm never gonna be to the point where I am completely unable to be supportive. Like, I cannot take care of myself. I'm just like, I'm never gonna get to that point. That's why I'm really weary about the stay at home thing, because it's like, I never want to get to a point to where I don't have anything, to where somebody has that much control over me, to where
Yeah.
I can't take care of myself. So
Yeah. No, I think, you know, you said a lot, but I definitely agree when it comes to, you want to make sure that you're financially stable as well, and making sure that the dude is actually responsible and has the responsibility to take on that, to take, you know, someone, when you try to take care of someone, like, yeah, you gotta make sure you're on your stuff, because she's counting on you. And if there's a dude out there, and I think a lot of women choose wrong. You choose wrong. You choose a dude who, like, why would you choose a dude that hasn't produced anything or any results? And he's just telling you off of his word, hey, I want you to stay home and just take care of me. And he ain't have nothing in his life to show for any of his, you know, for any sort of like responsibility or any results for his, manhood or anything like that. And I'm not saying that a dude has to produce, but a dude has to produce and produce results, but it's not just about financially. It's like who he is, who his character is, and not just the all show no substance. I think women have done that in their hopefully in their early and late 20s. In their 20s, it's more of like, ooh, what he has. Oh, we got a fat fly ride. He got this, he got that. And then you get to the dude and you realize that the dude ain't worth shit, because all he had to do was just put a bunch of material things in your face. But I think what you said is very important. Nowadays, men are taught to be emotionless, right? It's kind of flipped. A dude can't show too much emotion, right? And a lot of guys don't communicate or aren't in relationships like that because they know that whoever they're with, there's no safe space. Especially as a black, where is there a safe space as a black man? You walk out your house, you got to worry about being shot, killed, discriminated against. You see what I'm saying? The system of white supremacy is literally designed to either kill you, incarcerate you, label you. Like, there's no safe space. So if he has no peace in his house, and you ain't in a safe space where he can talk to you and maybe vent and be vulnerable, then he's never going to want to commit to you if you can't be his peace, you can't be his safe space. It's never going to happen. And especially if it feels like you're only with me because of the monetary things that I have, or you're with me because of my house, my car, my this, my that, the trips, the bop, bop, bop. He's not going to want to be with you because guess what? All men know in the back of our mind, we're like, damn, something can happen if you're not really financially, things can happen. We had a global pandemic. Things can happen where you aren't on your grind. Like I've been in relationships dead ass broke before. It's more, I tell you this, it's more fun actually having money in a relationship than not. It's a lot more fun. Yeah, it's a lot more fun. Girlfriends are expensive. Like you got to budget out. Like I used to, when I was single, like take myself on dates and be as happy as a clam, just sitting there, just dinner for one. But yeah, when you want to entertain and you want to put yourself a good foot forward, yeah, it's costly. That's why I don't understand these dudes that be dating all these different women and all that. Like I don't know. I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know how to do it. I know. I be doing the same thing.
Big money talking. That's all that is. That's big money talking.
But you want to know something? In these dating streets, and Giovanni, this goes to your point. Back in these in these Tinder, Bumble, even when I had low stuff, really down in the dumps. If you get real low on yourself, there's plenty of fish. Them streets. Yeah, if you are, guys and fellas, if you on plenty of fish still, you need to go to therapy and need to go to church because that's the bottom of you scraping the bottom of the barrel. But you know what made a lot of women uncomfortable? What I would do is I would say when a dude actually plans the date, it made a lot of women uncomfortable. Like, oh, all right, Friday, you available? Yeah, I'm available. Okay, meet me at such or even this. This is what I used to do. All right, I'm gonna pick you up at 8:00. Right? So I started, once you do that, and she starts doing the little hesitation, oh, what are we gonna do? A lot of women can't relinquish that power. Or if you tell a woman, yeah, I can't really talk right now. Why don't you give me a call at 6:00 tomorrow and we can talk? Why? What? You would get a lot of, why are you giving me a time to call you? And blah, blah, blah. Oh, red flag. Red flag right there.
Yeah, that's a red flag.
That's a red. Why are you telling me, oh, why I gotta call you at 6:00? What was it so important? No, I would do that purposely, not because it was just, oh, I need you to call me at 6:00. Sometimes I do, but it's a telltale sign of your level of not even vulnerability, of ability to relinquish some of that, I would call that independent jail rust off of you. And when it comes to a relationship, if you can't take instructions or anything I say to you is going to really trigger you to the point where you feel like you're unsafe. And that's one of the main things too in a relationship. Like you got to make sure that your partner feels safe. And that works both ways. That works both ways, especially dudes. Man, I'm so hypersensitive. I got cameras in my spot. I'm so hypersensitive of a woman not feeling comfortable around. I'm like, no, you good? You good? Right. Consent, all that.
And also, it's like safety feels different for everybody too. Like so that's also something very important to communicate up front. You don't even have to get all into all of the details, but you can say, listen, I had something like this happen to me before. So, anyone who does XYZ is kind of going to trigger that for me, because you could be, it could be something innocent as a joke that you may crack with someone. And next thing you know, they're flipping on you because they think you have ill intention because they're dealing with something that they never even communicated with. So anytime you're dealing with, like I said, whether it be a safety issue or any sort of soft point, any sort of nerve trigger point, it's always good to not even assume. It's always good to know that the other person that you're dealing with doesn't know that if you haven't expressed that to them. So, and that goes both ways. That goes for both men and women.
Yeah. You got to make sure it's a funny dance. Sometimes, honestly, there's a lot of times where I'm just like, sometimes I just want to just be by my damn self. Like it's tough. Where you just like, I just keep to myself. I'm good. Like you just don't. there was a point in time where I just didn't want you don't want the responsibility of being able to contribute to somebody else's happiness, and you also don't want to relinquish that either. Like, you don't want people to let you down and be like, hey, you invest, because anything you say or talk to somebody, it's an investment. And when that investment is not panning out, it's a tough fucking pill to swallow. And if you're dealing with anxiety, abandonment issues, depression, that shit is heavy. It's like it's literally feels like quicksand. I can speak to it. Feels like quicksand, and it takes a Herculean effort to get back to square one. And so, like, when you're dealing with a situation where it's like you're constantly being disappointed, you're constantly feeling like, yo, what the fuck? Yo, it's draining. And at that point, it's either fight or flight. And sometimes, one of my favorite lines in Star Wars is like, you got to learn to let go of everything you fear to lose. Sometimes you, like Giovanni said, you don't want to give people that power over you. Oh, like being in love and all the, romanticized versions of love, that's easy, man. But actually trying to sustain a long, sustainable and maintain. If I wanted to be married, I could be married tomorrow. I could be married, I could have been married 3 years ago. You see what I'm saying? But it's knowing like, yo, am I going to feel safe? Am I actually going to have joy? Am I going to have peace? And yeah, am I going to, and not only that, especially when you're trying to have kids, I don't have kids yet. Do I want my kids or my daughter to resemble you? And vice versa. Do you want your son to resemble me? Is a big thing. Do you want them to be influenced by it? That's what, if you don't have someone's value systems, if your value systems are aligned and the respect is not there, it's not gonna work. You're just prolonging. It's like like Thanos. You're just prolonging the inevitable, and eventually the thing is gonna snap, and all these memories and Facebook posts and pics, all that's just gonna turn to dust. And I'm 35. I ain't got time to be doing all that shit and starting over and doing like, nah. We talking joint business ventures now. We talking houses, townhouse. We talking career, kids. Settling some roots now. Like it ain't. I can't. I don't know. Maybe I got 2 years left in me to be out in these streets, but that's it. I can't be 40 and be in these streets, Giovanni. I can't. But yo. Moral of the story. Let's hit it. Oh, hold on. Private chat. Yep. Moral of the story. Let's hit it. Alan, I'm going to let you go first, my man. What is your moral of the story? You are muted, sir.
For sure. My moral of the story today, just kind of keeping on theme of what we've been talking about. Just, communication and communion. Communication over communion, if you can. A little bit of wine will lead to a little bit less whining, So make sure you tell, and this is not even romantic specific. Make sure you just are communicating with whoever you have constant relations with, whether it be a friendship, whether it be a family, whether it be romantic, in regards to the things that you will and will not take, will and will not tolerate. And, vice versa, what you're willing to give in that aspect. So the moral of the story is communication and communion.
Word. Jay, appreciate you being a facilitator today, and bringing up the topic of relationship. I wasn't even expecting to talk, but it was a conversation that was right on time. But what is your moral of the story? Just Giovanni.
Yeah, my moral of the story is definitely to follow your initial gut, like feelings and how you feel. And when I say follow, I mean like if you feel a certain way, follow up with that feeling to figure out why did you feel that type of way? Was it something that somebody said, how it happened, etc. And I feel like in the process, whether you're doing it in your relationship or on your own, you just discover more about who you are. Like we talked about earlier, the triggers and how to the pathway to like healthy relationships. I think it's all a very, very nice journey, because a lot of times we carry with us so much of our past into our future. And so my moral of the story is to try to figure out what are some of the things in the past that you don't want to carry into your future before you get into a relationship. All right.
Word. And yes, this is a heavy show. I wasn't expecting to go that deep, but I guess my moral of the story is protect your peace. Who you're with needs to elevate your peace, but peace comes from within. You can't expect anybody else to make you happy if you're not happy with yourself. So that goes along with doing the work, understanding your pathway, and that also means that you need to unlearn certain things. Sometimes you need to check yourself. And who is your support system? Because it's true, it does take a village, right? You gotta have, like, for instance, if I'm really, really tripping, Alan knows, like the bat phone, I'll call him and be like, yo, I want you to hear this. Am I tripping? And sometimes you gotta reach out to your homeboys and reach out. I've reached out to Giovanni before on certain things and be like, yo, am I tripping on this certain situation? Like, you need a support system, right? But when you're building a structure and you're building a relationship, you want to make sure that everybody's putting in their OT and building it up brick by brick and not taking off too much PTO. And that's probably why a lot of relationships fail, because you working and a lot of people have their talk about they got PTO, you got too many vacation days in your relationship, and everybody ain't working. And if everybody ain't working, the work still needs to get done. And if it gets too much for somebody, eventually the project, the structure just seems to falter. So be a good teammate, be a good partner, do the work, and hold yourself accountable, and don't waver from your standards, because they're your standards. If you believe you deserve something, go out there and get it. And if you don't have it, it's still out there. Not just because you're not getting it from that person. You need to go out and get it if you feel like you deserve it. So that is my moral of the story, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, for Jesse, for Giovanni, for Alan York, this is the Soapboxx Podcast. We appreciate each and every one of y'all for sticking with us. We were a little late today, but it's all good. We still got a good show in, and we are out, ladies and gentlemen. We are out. Peace.
Anything. Tell them what we talking about. Anything. Tell them what we talking about. Anything.